Dear plus 3 first year science students, I will discuss a new topic today. The name of the topic is the fight between the leopards. So it is a very beautiful creation of Jim Corbett. Jim Corbett is a colonel in the British Indian Army, and he is also a writer, a very good writer, a prolific writer. Hunting expedition, on a hunting expedition. On hunting, he has written many of the things, and his book is Man Eater of Kumaon. Man Eater of Kumaon, the name of the book. So again, you hear the first book, very beautiful book, that is Man Eaters of Kumaon. Man Eaters of Kumaon. And the second anthology of stories is about the man-eating leopard of Rudraprayag. The man-eating leopard of Rudraprayag. That is the second edition. He has already given. That is the second composition. He has already made. That is the second book, anthology of a book, anthology of stories, a collection of stories he has written. And Jim Corbett, you have heard his name, Jim Corbett. Jim Corbett is a British Indian Army colonel. British Indian Army colonel, and he was working there in defense department. He was working in military department, and he was a colonel. And here the topic is a fight between leopards. The fight between leopards is a very beautiful topic, thrilling topic. It gives a thrilling episode on how the fight has already begun between the two leopards. Leopards are the mysterious animals. The leopards in the jungle are the mysterious animals, and they are very majestic. They are mysterious and majestic. You don't know. They are also very secretive. Secretive. They are very secretive. So they come quietly. They come quietly on the grass without making any sound. They creep quietly without making any sound in order to catch hold of the prey. In order to catch hold of the prey, they are victims. Prey. So, they are very cunning animals, and they have their territories. Each and every leopard has its own territory, and it never likes any intrusion. It never likes any intrusion. No animal will enter into its territory. No animal will enter the territory. And that is why when one enters, the fight begins. When one animal enters, one leopard, another leopard enters the territory, at the time the fight begins. Each and every leopard has its own territory. It cannot put up with others. It cannot tolerate others. And that is why he is the monarch of his own territory. It is the monarch of his own territory, of its own territory. And that is why it will never tolerate anybody's intrusion, anybody's arrival, anybody's presence. And when anybody's presence, somebody's presence is found, the fight begins. And that continues for months together. The fight continues for months together. You might have seen the bullfight. You might have seen the bullfight. It goes days together. It goes for days together. And likewise, the leopards are very dangerous animals. They are very mysterious animals. They are very mysterious animals. They are very furious and ferocious, very monstrous. And their fighting is unique. Their fighting is unique. And this is the topic which gives rise to the fight between two leopards. The fight between the two leopards, it has already given rise to the fight between the two leopards near the Himalayas foothills. Near the Himalayas foothills, very important you mark. Near the Himalayas foothills, Kumaon is the name of a place. It is adjacent to the Himalayas. It is very close to the Himalayas. Adjacent, adjoining place, Kumaon. And another place is there also named Gorwal. Gorwal is another place. They are very close to the Himalayas, Himalayan belt, Himalayan foothills, and they are ferocious animals, monstrous animals, fierce animals, very dangerous animals as well. And the leopards are dangerous animals, very mysterious and majestic. They are very mysterious and majestic. They are secretive in nature, Umar. They are very secretive in nature. Secretly they go. They go secretly on the grassland. In order to catch a hold of their prey. In order to catch a hold of their prey, they go secretly without producing any sound. Without producing any sound, they go on the grassland. Umar. And dear students, I have told you the two major creations of Jim Corbett. Number one is Man Eaters of Kumaon. Kumaon Noro Khadoko in Udia. Kumaon Noro Khadoko. Kumaon is the name of the place. And Man Eaters of Kumaon. And again, the second book, second anthology, the second collection is Man Eating Leopard of Rudraprayag. Man eating leopard of Rudraprayag. Everything is found there in Indian soil. So that is found in Indian soil, and sometimes he is sent for. Jim Corbett is sent for by the Indian government to catch hold of or to hunt the ferocious animals, the dangerous animals, and Jim Corbett has that capacity. Jim Corbett has that skill. He has that caliber, he has that capacity to control or to catch hold of the ferocious animals, to hunt the ferocious animals alone. He is competent enough, Jim Corbett. And hunting is the main thing in his story, the hunting and taming of animals, dangerous animals. So all these things are there in the story. Humor. So again, I want to say that he has given so many things on tracking and hunting. Tracking and hunting. Humor. Tracking and hunting. In which way the beats are going, their way they have chosen, the track they have chosen, and Jimmy Corbett is there to find out the tracking, to find out the actual track on which the leopard is passing or the tiger is passing, the elephant is going. So all this tracking work is being done, and hunting sometimes is also being done by Jim Corbett. Very daring, very adventurous, very daring, and he is a very good writer on hunting and hunting expeditions. So dear students, so these places, Kumaon or the Gorwal, Kumaon and Gorwal are near the Himalayas. They are very close to the Himalayas, adjacent to the Himalayas, adjoining places, and going to that place, Jim Corbett horns the animals, even if controls the animals, even if it tames the animals, and he has known the capability, or he has known the skill, he has that capability, or he has that caliber to do all these things. And that is why the topic of discussion is the fight between leopards. Two leopards are there, and there is a fight in between them. There is a fight. In which way they fight? How many days they fight? And who dies? All sorts of things are there in the story. So, we should come to the text. The thrilling episode, it is the thrilling episode. And the topic is unique. As I approached the village in company with the headman, I heard the yelling of a woman mourning her dead. So Jim Corbett was sent for. Jim Corbett was sent for to the village. Was called by the villagers. And he has already come to shoot at the leopard. To find out the leopard's habitation. To find out the leopard's habitation. Where leopard resides. Where is his cave? And Jim Corbett has been sent for by the village headman or by the villagers. And as I approached the village, Jim Corbett wants to point out, as I approached the village in company with the headman. He has gone to the village with the company, along with the headman. Headman is there of the village. Headman of the village is also there. And I heard the yelling of a woman mourning her dead. A woman is crying because her son has died. The leopard has taken away the son. The leopard has taken away the son from the village. And no villager comes forward to rescue the son from the leopard. Everybody fears. The villager fears. So no villager comes forward to rescue the boy from the leopard. And the mother is seriously aggrieved. The mother is bereaved. The mother is sad at heart. Her heart is laden with sorrow. Her heart is laden with sorrow. She is bereaved. B-E-R-E-A-V-E-D, bereaved. The mother is bereaved because no villager comes forward to rescue her child from the leopard's mouth, to rescue her boy from the leopard's mouth. Only because of that, the mother is bereaved. The mother is bereaved, sad at heart, woman. And yeah, Jim Corbett has already come to the village, and the village headman is also there, along with the other company. The village headman is also there. I heard the wailing of a woman. A woman is crying because her son has died. The son has already been the victim of the wrath of the leopard. The son has already become the victim of the wrath. Victim of the wrath, W-R-A-T-H. The son has become the victim of the wrath of the leopard. So that the mother is crying and crying. The mother is crying and crying, mourning for the death of her son. And the wailing of a woman, the crying. The wailing for a woman mourning her dead, only for her son, dead body. And it was the mother of the victim. And she was the first to greet me when I arrived in the village. The mother greeted Jim Corbett very much. And she bade her greetings, B-A-D-E. She bade her greetings. First of all, in the village, the mother welcomed Jim Corbett. So everybody knew, everybody has heard the name of Jim Corbett. Jim Corbett is a hunter, he is a British colonel, and he is known to everybody in India. Every elite people, every elite man knows him very much. Only because of that, Jim Corbett sometimes is requested by the Indian government to come to the Indian soil in order to see or in order to find out the habitation of these ferocious animals. And sometimes Jim Corbett goes on hunting these animals because they are the man eaters. They are the man eaters, human. So that sometimes Jim Corbett becomes very daring and adventurous and kills in hunting, kills the animals in hunting. So you mark, the mother welcomed Jim Corbett in the village, and his arrival in the village was welcomed by the mother who had lost her child, who had lost her son. The mother welcomed Jim Corbett in the village. Even to my own practiced eye, it was apparent that the bereaved mother had just weathered one hysterical storm and was heading for another. Heading for another. And as I lack the art of dealing with the people in this condition, I was anxious to spare the women a recital of the events of the previous evening. You mark. So there are two words: hysterical storm. You mark. Hysterical, Hysterical. Hysterical storm. It says about the mother's grief. Storm is nothing but mother's grief, and mother's grief has been doubled. So, at the death of her son, mother's grief has been doubled. Her grievance has been doubled, and she is crying and crying. She is only crying and crying, putting blame on the villagers that they have never rescued her boy, rescued her son from the mouth of the leopard, and that is why she is crying. And had just weathered one hysterical storm, one storm has gone. That means one grief has gone, one problem has gone, and was heading for another. So why the poet has the writer has told that she is heading for another? Because that leopard is very dangerous, and it will come for the second time to the village. The leopard from the mountain will come to the village for the second time, and it will harm the mother again. It will harm the mother. So that is why the grief is one that has gone, the grievance is one that has gone, and the mother is heading towards the second grievance, or the mother is heading towards the second grief. You mark. Dear students, I have told you that the leopards are very mysterious animals. They are very mysterious animals. They are secretive. They go secretly on the grassland without making any sound, just like cats. So just like cats, they adopt the feline cunningness. They adopt the feline, Feline. They adopt the feline cunningness in order to catch hold of their prey. And that is why they are very mysterious. So once the leopard has taken away the son of the women, and secondly, it may come to the village again to cause damage, to cause harm to the women. That is why the mother has faced the problem for the first time, and she is heading towards another problem for the second time. The writer wants to say. Again, I was anxious to spare the women a recital of the events of the previous evening. What happened in the previous evening? The writer wanted to know. What happened in the previous evening, in which way the leopard came and took away the boy from the village, and the writer wanted to hear the story from the mother's mouth. The writer wanted to hear the story from the mother's mouth. And only because of that, the writer wanted a recital. The writer wanted a recital from the mother's mouth. What happened in the previous night? What happened in the last night? Last evening. She appeared to me eager to give me her version of the story. However, so I let her have her way. Then the women told her story, told the story that took place in the evening, last evening, and she told everything just before the writer. She told everything, and I let her have her way. Then the writer spared the lady. The writer spared the lady. And the writer decided, pondered a lot. Jim Corbett pondered a lot in which way he will give justice to the women. He will give justice to the villagers. He will give justice to the members of the family of the women. That is why Jim Corbett pondered a lot. And as her story unfolded, it was apparent that her object in telling it was to ventilate her grievance against the man of the village for not having run after the leopard. Run after the leopard, leopard rescued her son and rescued her son. So the mother put blame. The mother put blame on the villagers because they did not run after the leopard in order to rescue the boy from the leopard's grip, G-R-I-P, from the leopard's sway, S-W-A-Y, from the leopard's clutch. They could not free the boy. They could not free the boy from the leopard's clutch, or leopard's clutch, C-L-U-T-C-H, leopard's sway, S-W-A-Y, leopard's grip, G-R-I-P. So the villagers are failed. So that the mother put blame on the villagers. She put blame on the villagers as to why the villagers did not do the same, did not come forward to rescue the boy, did not come forward to save the boy. And the villagers have done a wrong thing. The villagers have done injustice for the mother, what the mother says. So the writer has collected all these things from the mother, human. And again, the writer wants to say that the village for not having run after the leopard, the villagers did not run after the leopard and rescue her son. As his father would have done had he been alive. If his father had been alive, human, if the father of that boy was killed, if the father of that boy had been alive, he would have done the work which had been undone by the villagers. He would have done the work which had been undone by the villagers, that had not been done by the villagers. So the father was no more come. The father had already died. And again you come in her accusation against the man. I told her she was unjust, and in her belief that her son could have been rescued alive, I told her she was wrong. So the writer gave him consolation by saying that the villagers have done no wrong. The villagers have done no wrong. Why? They should not come towards the leopards where the leopard has already become aggressive. Where the leopard is aggressive, fires. One villager should never come to the leopards in front. He should never present himself just before the leopard. And finally, he will be a victim. He will be victimized. He will be a prey. So a villager can never do anything. A leopard is a very dangerous animal. A villager, a single villager, or a group of villagers can never do anything. So to tame it or to hunt it, very difficult. It is very difficult. It is very difficult to hunt the animal. Very dangerous animal. So you must. But when the leopard clamped his teeth around the boy's throat, when the leopard clamped his teeth around the boy's throat, that dislocated the head from the neck, and the boy was already dead before the leopard carried him across the courtyard. You mark. When the leopard caught hold of the boy by its teeth, caught hold of the boy's throat by its teeth, the head and the neck had been separated. You mark. The head and the neck had already been separated. The teeth were so sharp. You mark. The teeth were so sharp. The teeth were so sharp that it dislocated the head from the neck, and the boy was already dead before he was carried. Before he was carried elsewhere. Before he was carried to different places, the boy had already put to death. When the leopard got hold of the throat of the boy, at the time its teeth, sharp teeth, dislocated the head from the neck. Dislocation has already been there. And the child has gone dead. The boy has gone dead at that time. The child has gone dead. So before it is carried to the spot, or before it is carried to a different place by the leopard, it is totally dead. They dislocated the head from the neck, and the boy was already dead before the leopard carried him across the courtyard. Nothing the assembled man or anyone else would have done would have been of any use. The assemblage can never do anything. The assemblage, a group of people will never do that. A villager can never do it. A villager can never rescue a boy from the mouth of the leopard, because the leopard is very dangerous human. It is very secretive, it is very dangerous. So, no one can easily snatch a prey from the mouth of the leopard. No one can easily snatch, or the group of men can never easily snatch the prey from the mouth of the leopard. Very dangerous, very fierce, very harmful, very monstrous, very dangerous. So, standing in the courtyard, drinking the tea that had so thoughtfully been provided for me, Yuba. The narration is very good. It is a very good narration made by Jim Corbett. Standing in the courtyard, drinking the tea offered to him, drinking the tea that had so thoughtfully been provided for me, and nothing, the 100 or more people who are gathered around, I found it difficult to conceive how an animal the size of a leopard had crossed the courtyard in a daylight without being seen by any of the people who must have been moving about at that time. He was pondering a lot thoughtfully. He was taking tea thoughtfully. What was the thought? Now, when the leopard came to the village, where the people were here, number one. And seeing the people, it would have been scared. It would have already gone away. People have not seen the leopard. Where the people were here. So there is a question. The village dog could have smelt. The village dog could have smelt the leopard. But what did they do? They did not find out the presence of a leopard in the village. The villagers could not find out the presence of the leopard in the village, and the village dogs are also silent, and there was not at all the dog barking. There was not at all the dog barking. And in which way the leopard came to the village man? And the leopard, I have told you, it is very secretive. It goes secretly. It comes secretly. It will never bring any notice of anybody. It will never bring any notice of anybody. And it is very secretive that village dog even cannot know. Village dog cannot know, cannot get any smell. What about the villagers? The village dog can never get the smell. But what about the villagers you are? But the writer was taking the tea thoughtfully. The writer was taking the tea thoughtfully. And he pondered a lot and thought, when the leopard came to the village, where are the people so here? Where are the people here? When the leopard came to the village. And secondly, where are the village dogs so here? Where are the village dogs so here? So the leopard has already come to the village. When everybody, when the village is completely silent, in the monotonous surrounding, in the surrounding, in the monotonous surrounding, the leopard has come to the village. The evening is solitary, you mark. The evening is solitary. The evening is monotonous. And the leopard has already come to the village in such a situation, in such a condition, or in such a scene. The leopard has already come, nobody has seen. Even if the village dog, even if the village dogs have never seen the leopard in the village. It has come secretly. It has come secretly because it is secretive in nature. The leopard is secretive in nature. And close the courtyard in daylight. Again, I find it difficult to conceive how an animal, I find it difficult to conceive. I cannot conceive how an animal, the size of a leopard, big size. The size of the leopard is very big. The size of a leopard had crossed in the courtyard in the daylight without being seen by any of the people. Without being seen by the people. And must have been moving about at that time. Must have been moving about people. And or how its presence had gone undetected by the dogs in the village. No dogs could see. No dogs could find out the presence of the leopard. And how it is very strange. It is very strange. And while the writer is taking it in, he becomes thoughtful. He becomes thoughtful. Climbing over the 80-foot wall down which the leopard carrying the boy had jumped. I followed the drag across the yam field down another wall 12 feet high. So the work will now start. The work will now begin. Jim Corbett, coming to the village, has already started his work. And he will now find out the track. He will now find out the track on which the leopard has passed, on which the leopard has already gone with the boy. And his tracking work will be done fast. And we will go on tracking. And dear students, this is about the first part of the story. And I will send you the second part tomorrow. And I will complete the story within 2-3 days. Within 2-3 days, I will complete the story. You should not worry. And if the time will permit, if the time permits, I will teach you the same topic, and that will be the introduction class, and you will know more and more. I will never neglect you. Dear students, I will never neglect you. I have given you words that I will finish your course, and before the exam comes, and I will again discuss these topics in the class, and there will be the introduction class. You will face no problem. Thank you all. Thank you all.